We have become a species allergic to emptiness. From the moment our eyes open, we invite a digital deluge. The silent morning is strangled by the alarm, the notification, and the ready-made thoughts of an algorithm. Every gap in our day waiting for a train, standing in line. A brief moment of solitude is seen not as an opportunity for reflection, but as a terrifying void that must be conquered by a screen, a song, or a simulated voice. We are not just consuming information, we are being consumed by it. Our minds, meant to be instruments of limitless creation, have become mere reservoirs of external stimuli, stagnant and severely overfed. We suffer from the great saturation where the signal of our own soul is lost in the relentless, deafening static of the modern world. We have convinced ourselves that being connected to everything means we are connected to ourselves. We confuse continuous movement with actual progress, and we confuse constant noise with true importance. But the opposite is true. We are more fragmented, more distracted, and more distant from our core than any generation in human history. Why do we do this? Why do we instinctively reach for a distraction the second the room goes quiet? In the 17th century, the French philosopher Blaise Pascal wrote, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. We avoid silence because we are actively avoiding the mirror. We are terrified that if the music stops, if the screen goes dark, we will be forced to look inside and face our shadow. Silence forces us to confront our unresolved regrets, our hidden anxieties, and the quiet realization that we might not be living the life we truly desire. It is easier to drown out the internal whisper with external noise than to sit and listen to what it has to say. But the masters tell us the hard truth. Only when the noise stops do we find everything. Ancient wisdom knew better. Silence was never seen as an absence of sound, but as a profound presence of force to be respected and cultivated. The Pythagorean acousmatikoi, the listeners, had to endure 5 years of absolute silence before they were allowed to speak a single word of philosophy. This was not a punishment, nor a test of endurance. It was a deep psychological purification. It was a filtering process to separate those who wanted to appear wise from those who truly sought wisdom. Pythagoras understood that to speak without silence is to act without thinking. You cannot pour fresh water into a cup that is already full of mud. The mind must be emptied before it can be enlightened. Long before the Greeks, in the misty mountains of ancient China, Lao Tzu wrote in the Tao teaching about the profound power of emptiness. He observed a simple truth. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood to build a house. We cut out doors and windows, but it is the empty space within that makes the room livable. The usefulness of what is depends entirely on what is not. In our modern lives, we obsess over the clay, the endless tasks, the endless content, the endless noise, and we completely neglect the empty space. Without that internal emptiness, we cannot hold new ideas. We cannot hold peace. The Stoics, too, were masters of the void. Seneca, while living above a noisy public bathhouse in ancient Rome, wrote about the difference between external noise and internal peace. He realized that the shouting, the splashing, and the chaos outside did not matter as long as there was no chaos within. The Stoics practiced silence in their meditations on mortality, stripping away all worldly distractions to confront the absolute truth of their existence. Marcus Aurelius did not write his profound philosophical diary, Meditations in a busy Roman forum. He wrote to himself in the quiet of his tent, amidst the brutal, freezing stillness of a military campaign on the frontier. These great minds understood that the universe speaks in a whisper, and to hear it, your mind must become a silent, echoing chamber. The anatomy of silence is not about escaping reality or retreating to a cave. It is about building an impenetrable mental fortress against the tyranny of noise. The word integrity shares roots with integer meaning whole. How can we possibly be whole when our attention is continuously fragmented, piece by piece, stolen by the demands of 1,000 notifications and trivial urgencies? We suffer not from a lack of facts or data, but from a severe lack of synthesis. The human mind strictly needs the void to form connections, to digest experiences, to weave raw information into knowledge, and eventually, knowledge into wisdom. Without the void, we possess a massive warehouse of facts but absolutely no architecture to contain them. Silence is the ultimate luxury of the 21st century. It is the fertile soil in which the deepest, most original thoughts germinate. It is the sacred pause that allows you to say no to the relentless demands of the world and yes to your own authentic being. It is the space where the anatomy of silence reveals its ultimate, transformative secret, that the void is not empty at all, but entirely full of possibilities, waiting only for the light of your awareness. When you sit in silence, you are engaging in the highest form of rebellion against a society that profits from your endless distraction. You are taking back ownership of your most valuable asset, your attention. It takes immense courage to sit with yourself, unshielded by the armor of technology. So, how do we begin to reclaim this? The world outside will not get quieter. The algorithms will only get smarter, the headlines more sensational, the distractions more perfectly tailored to your weaknesses. You cannot change the nature of the modern world, but you can change the nature of your response to it. You must become the sanctuary. It starts not with years of monastic isolation, but with small, deliberate moments of defiance. It is the 3-second pause before you instinctively reach for your phone in the elevator. It is leaving the radio off during your morning commute and listening to the hum of the engine. It is claiming 5 unbroken minutes in the morning, before the world has a chance to tell you what to care about, to simply sit and observe the rhythm of your conscious breath. The practice of stillness is not a flight from engagement with the world, but a profound enhancement of it. When you speak from a place of deep, cultivated silence, your words carry weight and authority. When you act from a place of internal stillness, your actions have undeniable purpose. Stop blindly consuming. Start intensely listening to the silence. It has infinitely more to tell you than 1,000 books, 1,000 podcasts, or 1,000 artificial voices. The noise tells you what to buy, what to fear, and what to think. But the silence tells you who you are.